Hello! I'm Lieutenant Colonel Avralank, and you're watching the BAF Castle. Welcome to another episode, which is, in fact, our first episode. And today, I'm joined with the one I see of the coordinators, Captain Golisopod95. Hello, Golly. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I've had a great week, and I can't wait to see what's in store.
Lovely.
It's just been great. I've been having a great time.
Fantastic.
How are you
Great
doing?
to hear. Well, thank you very much, first of all. But again, I'm not doing too bad. Quite tired, it's been a busy first day in the studio. Bloody glad I got that. But that's enough about me, I digress. So, back to you, after all, you're our most welcome guest. So, as the one I see of the coordinators, how are you finding things? And what were your thoughts on the Easter Festival? I know it was ushered on you quite quickly, so how do you think it went?
Well, being the one I see of any corps is usually stressful. I've been the one I see of the media a couple times, and
Hmm.
we can talk more about that later. But like as
Mhm.
for the coordinators, I never thought I'd even be the one I see of the coordinators because that
Yeah, right.
that was that was Tiger's thing, and Tiger was always doing that. So I never assumed that they would
Yeah,
ever
very true. Yeah.
give it over.
Mhm.
But Ludus being there for the short time that she was great, and her being my 2IC is better. She's busy with the Fleet Admiral, and just overall, it's been a great experience.
Yeah,
And then the
that's fantastic to hear.
festival, you know how the festival. I mean, you saw how the festival went. It went
I
great.
certainly did. Yeah.
I was nervous. There was a lot of bumps in the road. There was a lot
Mhm.
of stressful
Understandable.
moments. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Couldn't stop focusing on it.
Mhm.
But once it happened, everyone had fun. I think it went a lot better than some of our previous ones.
No, right. Yeah. Fantastic.
So with that, I absolutely loved this Easter festival,
Mhm.
and I just cannot wait. I just cannot wait for the future. But during the
Well, that's exactly
festival,
what we're after, isn't it?
um,
Mhm.
we had a couple interviews that you did
Right,
with
you
a
are.
couple
Yes, we
people.
certainly did.
So
Tell you what, let's get them on now, shall we? All righty. Hello, Flicker. How are you doing today? All good?
Hello, everyone.
How
I'm
have you been
doing
finding
pretty
it?
good, yeah.
Very nice, very nice. So, let's get down to the nitty gritty. How have you been finding the Easter Festival so far? What's your opinion of it?
I actually really liked it. I like that there's a lot of springtime events and a lot of events that
Hmm.
are timed specifically to Easter. But it's also been nice with all the tournaments, and especially the big army sleepover was really nice to just relax after the big pool tournament.
Yeah, I love it. I mean that's exactly what you want, isn't it? You want a lovely action-packed day, just something to unwind at the end of it all. Hey, but yeah, no,
I
yeah,
mean, it
but you
was
understand.
really
Thank you very
exciting,
much.
so it was nice. You're very welcome.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, and just to, as this is the first episode of the talk show, is there anything you'd like to say to our lovely audience?
You guys can look very much forward to the talk show, and we of course have a lot of stuff in store for you guys, and we also have a secret extra spring event in store. So yeah.
Well, there you have it. Stay tuned. It's going to be great. Alrighty. Hello, Shimmy. I must say,
Hi.
your outfit is looking absolutely wonderful.
Oh,
I
thank
wish
you.
you all the very best in the costume contest. But anyway, then let's enough of that chatter. On to the first question. So, how have you been finding the Easter Festival so far?
Oh, the Easter Festival's been wonderful. I've had a lot of fun, definitely.
Nice. Well, that's always good to hear. Coordinators, you're doing a fantastic job, by the way. And on that note, what sort of event would you say have been your favourite?
The opening ceremony was very nice. It was a good chance for
Hmm.
everybody to hang out and everything. I had a blast at watching the pool tournament and everything. BAF and their pool tournaments.
Yes,
Just a
definitely.
heads up, we
Absolutely
got our
stated.
third judge on screen.
Putt-Putt
They're
tournament
here
was also
now.
really fun to watch and
Hmm.
everything. Overall, everything's just been really fun.
Oh, lovely. That's fantastic to hear. And thank you very much for your time. But one more question just before you go.
Hmm.
Since this is our first episode of this talk show, have you got anything you'd like to say to our lovely audience?
Support media. Media does good work and they're doing great things.
You heard it here first, folks. Thank you very much. I'll see you later.
Absolutely.
So, golly, the Easter Festival, absolutely fantastic event, went absolutely amazingly. Everyone had a great time. I'm sure you guys can agree. But we're all curious, so please, can you answer this? Did the coordinators have anything coming up in future? Any future plans that you can reveal?
Well,
Anything exciting?
of course, we do have the summer festival coming up. That will be at the end of July. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many plans for that. There's going to be a few announcements here soon, so we can get started as soon as possible.
Oh, okay,
Um,
cool.
yeah, but Yeah, we're thinking about maybe some new events. Maybe even do,
Mhm,
I don't know,
mhm.
like a Fortnite event or something like that. I think people would like that.
Fortnite?
Oh, okay, yeah, I mean, that could be pretty good.
Fortnite?
Huh?
No way!
Where did you guys get
Fortnite!
it?
Fortnite!
Uh-uh.
Fortnite!
Come on,
Security,
guys.
come on. Let's got them out. Come on.
Hit the
Have
goodie! Hit the goodie!
I missed that?
Yeah, Fortnite!
Where do you come from?
Fortnite! Fortnite! Fortnite!
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. We had some dastardly ruffians come into the studio, so we had to go deal with them. But here we go, back on track. So, golly, we've heard about your present and your future, but now it was only befitting if you talk about your past now. So, I remember you as CEO of the Athena for a bit. How was that?
Well, I was CEO for the Athena for what I think it was only a couple months, maybe like a month and a half. Wasn't very long. It was great being on the Athena. It was definitely different. It was a lot different. I'm used to the Freya. I was the CEO of the Freya for about 6 months. I think just
Quite a long
under,
time, yeah.
just on. Yeah, it was a very long time, but
Yeah,
I
different
learned.
uniforms as well.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Mhm,
Being Tiger's EXO and even being under Nos when Nos was under it, like I learned a lot from those two.
Yeah.
And I've had great experiences. I've had really bad experiences. When I first was asked if I could be a CEO,
Mhm.
I was ready, right? I was super ready. And then that lovely day when we did the Navy trailer, first recording,
Mm.
we had so many people. We had
Hmm.
so many people there to record, and I could not, for the life of me, get anyone to listen. Like no one wanted to listen to me.
Yes.
I had officers available to help me control it. Didn't use them, and I was basically told that maybe I'm not fit to be an officer. I was told that.
Ouch.
It really hurt.
It's
It
quite,
really,
I,
really.
I, I would be hurt if I was told that. Yeah. Jeez.
It was like a jab to the heart. But at the same time, I was very upset. I was crying. I was like, maybe
Okay.
I ain't. But Tiger and Saintly came to the rescue and helped me basically be better. Use it as a lesson. I was always a doormat, always let people walk all over me, and it really sucked. And because of them, it was not good at all.
Well, there you go, folks. Never give up. You know.
Never give up. If you have a goal, please go for it. But Tiger kind of like Blaze ruled with an iron fist. With me, they were a little bit laid back, a little bit more laid back.
All right.
They genuinely were more laid back, but you know they still were stern. But I needed that a little bit. Like I said, I was too busy. I needed to learn from that and take a little bit from it and kind of balance myself out.
Right.
And doing so, I worked really hard and I kept with it and I did all I could. And eventually, I went up to defense staff and I was defense staff for a little while. Things got a little hairy. Everyone remembers why. You know, just it got really hairy. So I retired for a little bit. Biggest regret, I retired for 3 weeks, and I was hoping when I came back, I could get back in the groove of things, and I have gotten back in the groove of things, and I absolutely love what we're doing. I love. It's been a little rough, but it's been a great time, and I wouldn't change it. I learned a lot from this group, and I learned a lot from my time as CO, and frankly, I'm not allowed to be CO or XO right now. Other people need to have it. Other people need to learn from it. Other people need to fill in those spots that are needed to fill. And I'm willing to help out whenever I can. I've been there. Like I said, I'm willing to give guidance and some pointers.
Of course, I'm
to
sure
help
they could
people
use
out.
someone like you with your help and your experience.
Thank you. My experience is like it's a lot. It's a lot of CO stuff. I mean, Steve's done a few COs himself. He's gone back and forth many times, so he knows what it's like. But yeah, it's been a great experience, and like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, it sounds like you've had quite a journey, and I'm sure I not only speaking for myself, but I'm sure I'm also speaking for many other people when I say that we're glad to have you back, Golly. It's always a fun time of year around.
I'm glad to be here. So, and I'll continue to be here until Ludus decides to get rid of me. So,
well, there you go, Ludus. It's up to you now. And so, golly, you know, with all these trials and tribulations you've gone through, with all your experience, surely there's been some sort of favorite event or wacky moments that have gone on. So tell me, please, enlighten me. I'm sure we'd all like to know. For trainings, for example, let's take trainings. Have you got a specific training in mind that you'd say is your favourite? And were there any wacky hijinks that went on?
Well, when it comes to trainings, I've always been the one to talk about the Glock 17 training. I made it. It's my baby.
A classic.
Those who have gone to my Glock 17 training have seen how different it can be. I do make one silly, inappropriate joke, but everyone remembers it. Everyone remembers. So
I certainly do.
if anyone hasn't gone to Glock 17 training, then you'll know. But it's one of those things that it's very fun to. I've made it my own. Everyone makes their own trainings their own. I have gone out of my way to make sure that, it's entertaining. There's a couple things that aren't on the documents that I like to ask people just to test their knowledge.
Of course.
I've had a few people who know what they're talking about give me some guidance. One of my favorite experiences about teaching, if any of you have ever had Sweet Candy Andy in any of your trainings ever, when he's enthusiastic about something, he's moving, he's bobbing, he's nodding, he's pointing, he's doing his thing.
Of course, moving.
And when I talked about the Glock 17, he actually owns one. So when I was talking about all the things that make the Glock 17 what it is and all that stuff, he was affirming to me. Like every time I said something about it, he would nod, and I was like, "Yeah, I did my research." And there's been a few times I haven't failed too many people. A lot of times when people fail, it's almost any training though. Most of the time when people fail, it's because they didn't do notes. They didn't take the time to do notes. They just thought that they could just get away with it, and that doesn't necessarily work. That doesn't.
It certainly doesn't.
There's a few people that are really good at that kind of stuff. I know DDYM. He's never taken notes ever in his entire life.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he's one of those people. It's like a steel trap. And then there's some people that just they just it's a language thing. Just to name one thing, the caliber of the Glock 17 is 9x19 Parabellum. A lot of people don't know how to say Parabellum. Parabellum is a very difficult word. It's a Latin word. I get it. I've had somebody say Pelipper.
Oh, as in the Pokemon.
As in the Pokemon.
Right.
There's a segment. There's a point where you learn how to safely holster the weapon. I've had somebody take 5 whole minutes because they were on desktop. I had to be their hands. It took 5 whole minutes for me to go from here to here to holster it. It took 5 whole minutes. I was very lenient with them.
Okay.
Some of the funniest questions are when people give you information that you didn't even say at all during the training. You're like, "Oh, that's not the correct answer, but that is a thing. Yeah, that's a thing, but I didn't say it."
Yeah, multiple times.
But yeah, we've had besides the Glock 17 training, there's been quite a few trainings that I think have had fun. There's been funny moments. There's been some, I would say, Friendly Souls TCCC training. It may not be the hardest in the world, but it's the only one I left with a headache because there's just so much information.
Wow. Okay.
Just tons of information. If you've been to it, you know. But what about you, Avro? Like, what trainings do you like? What trainings do you find interesting the most, or had some fun experiences with?
Yes. Well, I might be biased, but the basic tank training has always hold a very special place in my heart. It was the first training that I ever learned back as a little sergeant. But yeah, and I remember the very first time I hosted it, I was feeling confident. I had the notes ready, just on the dry run. Everything was looking perfect, right? And then I was waiting in the presentation room, right? And holding to your seats. You're not going to believe this, right? But not only does my commanding officer walk in to do the training, along with about 10 other recruits and NCOs and such, but also the field marshal, Gizelher at the time, walks in. And then, of course, this is my first proper event that I've hosted. And all of a sudden, I've got to train not only my CO, but also the field marshal himself. So naturally, I was quite terrified, needless to say. So all that confidence, absolutely gone.
Yeah, I've been there. My back in my recruitment, the field marshal, the fleet, and the fleet admiral both showed up to mine.
Oh, wow. Right,
I also had Lucy running it, so the current field marshal. So that was terrifying my first day. But
understandable.
DDYM was the one that recruited me, so he was there with me. Actually, Tiger was also there, and
Oh, yeah.
Rain Utopia was there. I want to say Raiden was there as well. So some old names, but some classics, some OGs. Some of the people in the group will know some of the OGs back in the day.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's I know how you feel, but yeah, some of
Yeah,
the trainings have been
definitely.
really great. They've been great experiences, or they've been bad experiences. So
Well, lovely.
yeah, it's been awesome.
See, as I'm sure you can imagine, having all those high ranks, lovely people as they are, as a sergeant or as one of the lower ranks, some of you out there might understand this feeling. It's still a scary thing, having like such these senior officers who have been here for ages, probably seen hundreds of the same event, and all of a sudden they're judging you. So thankfully, though, besides a few minor hiccups, it went quite well. So
Yeah,
that's always a
absolutely.
plus.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what, in terms of answers, I can sort of relate to that, although in a slightly different way. I have heard some wacky things of my times hosting trainings, right? But I think the best thing I've ever heard was something I've actually said myself. Pardon me, it might sound quite vain, but you might understand in just a second. So, let me set the stage. It's my first ever, well, not first ever event, but probably one of the second or third events, and it was the basic tank training that I attended to get the medal, back as a little Lance Corporal back in the day. And well, we get through everything, taking notes, very vigilant. I'm like, okay, stressing out. I've got to pass this, right? And Polyrythmy at the time, he takes me aside to do my test, and of course, I'm going through the motions, going quite well. Passed 4 out of the 10 questions at the moment, so doing quite well. And all of a sudden, he asked me one question. It's situation based, and it was this, right? The question was, how would you approach a hostile village off in the distance, right? Or something along those lines. It's been quite a while. And I got my answer. Of course, what it should have been, actually, I can't say that. We almost gave an answer away. But what I said was, it didn't elaborate, no detail or anything. I just said, you should approach it carefully. Which, isn't necessarily wrong.
That's
but isn't
correct.
quite what they're looking
Yeah.
after. Yeah, exactly.
That's correct. I
I
would
made my case and somehow got the point for that. So,
I mean, you're not
you're
wrong.
convincing
It's a
enough.
technicality. You got to point on a technicality.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yes.
Great. Awesome.
So, you've been in the part of the coordinators and the media corps in the videography department for quite a while now. You must have seen so much stuff, not only in your streams, but also just all of these events in general over the past year or so of the BAF. So please, can you enlighten us, elaborate a bit more about the history of that?
Well, so in the previous iteration, I don't want to really specify, because we don't really talk about it anymore. But I really couldn't do video stuff. I wasn't allowed to. I've always wanted to do video stuff. I used to have an old capture card. I used to make videos on my 360 and stuff like that. Hell, I've even used a webcam from a laptop to record my TV screen. I've always wanted to like make videos. So with this group, I was like, sweet, I can do videos. I have ideas. I have so many ideas in my head that I still haven't done that I would like to maybe do someday, but I gotta find motivation to do it, because sometimes you get like an art block. You need motivation,
Definitely.
But when it comes to some video stuff, like I said, I've been there since the beginning. I've handed it over to KVJ at one point. I have it back now, because again, the retirement thing. So I was one IC of the media, and I put a lot of focus on, at the time when I went into that, getting the staff wall updated. I was super I was always very angry about the fact that the staff wall was wrong. I still feel bad. Yos, I'm sorry if you're seeing this. I'm sorry about that one time it didn't get updated when I thought it did, and it didn't. I'm sorry. I still feel bad about it. I still remember it to this day. But
there you go. There's your apology.
So with that, I just wanted that staff wall, updated all the time, to where, like, when people like, oh, we got updated, and then like, a couple days later, it's on the wall. It's really nice. It's really nice to have that as up to date as possible.
Yeah.
And so doing videos, we had a lot of people come and go, and we've had a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different video backgrounds. Again, mine's very amateurish. I've learned my own style. I can't get away with anything because a lot of people recognize it. So if you know, Calvis, if you know, you know. So there's a lot of there's a lot that goes behind it. A lot of it is self-taught. Like I said, it's Premiere. I never used Premiere until I joined this group.
Right.
And so anytime I have a question of, how do I do this? I always go to YouTube. I like YouTube, Premiere Pro, how to do this.
Yeah.
Like tracking. The snail TikTok that we did a while back.
Oh, right, yeah.
I learned to frame by frame follow the snail on that video, so it looks like it follows. I used it later on for the body tracking one, and it's just like every time I make a new video, there's always like, how do I do this thing? And then I look it up and I'm like, cool, I learned something. So almost every video, I learned something new.
And that's
I want to,
you know,
what's that?
Every time you always want something to learn, something to take away from it, you know. Otherwise, are you really making progress? You know.
That's true. Yeah, it was always a learning experience. And then when somebody else has a question, I'm like, I know how to do that. Or here's the video I used. It's very easy. We've had some great videos over the years. I would say some of our streams have been somewhat monumentous. I want to say our 1,000-member event stream was really, really, really good. We had that's what we did. We had commercial breaks. I'm sorry, I lost the chicken one for the Air Force, the space chicken. I lost that one.
Unbelievable.
It's not in my files. I feel bad about it. We had the Saintly, the Sniffums by Saintly.
Oh, Sniffles. I remember that. Yes.
Like the cologne perfume commercial.
Yeah.
It got really dark. So it was great. There's been a lot of videos that we've made that are really good. Like for instance, the Naval War Games trailer.
Yeah.
I used the song "Sweet Dreams" cover by Marilyn Manson. I wanted to use that song since I wanted that to be the original Navy song, but we wanted to use "Kickstart My Heart," so we'd use that instead. So I was like, finally, I can use a song for a video, and I'm going to use this one. So yeah. That was really fun. But I would say the funniest or best moment was in the 1,500 member event. There was the Laser Dome event that we were doing.
Yes.
And in that stream, there's a point where I have the camera because I can grab a little camera and I can follow people, right?
Right, yeah.
All of a sudden, the camera just starts veering off.
I think I remember this, yeah.
About 15 to 30 seconds. So back then we had crunch time. The coordinators were very crunchy at the time. And I was doing the media and I was still very new with streaming. I was still very new with a lot of it. So I was like the only one at the time in terms of doing that stream. And I was working third shift at my job. And so I got home from a third shift job, got everything ready from that day before.
Yeah.
Didn't take a nap because I was just so busy.
No blimey.
Went to work the next day, third shift. Got home and then made sure everything got ready. Did the stream all the way to the end. So I was on 36 hours of no sleep. So in that 30 seconds of it veering off was me literally falling asleep on the stream. It was literally me I started snoring. And then somebody woke me up and they're like, "Were you sleeping?" I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm good."
I mean, come to think of it, I do remember you were quite quiet during that. Now I see why.
But anytime we did the streams, anytime we do streams, I'm muted, so no one can hear me, but the host can hear me. But everyone could hear me snoring in the world. So that was probably the best, funniest moment of any of the videography stuff I've done. Was just, but hey, the crunch time, it was again worth it. I learned a lot. I learned I could stay up for 36 hours with no sleep. So
there you go.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, that's absolutely fascinating to hear about everything. Thank you very much for your contributions. However, we now move on to our first sort of proper segment of this show, where we I like to call it, You know, it's one of those times where we just go through something you've said in the past, some things that may or may not have some strange context to it. And we'll give you a quote, and we'll see how it goes. You know, something that really makes you go, "Huh?" Are you ready, Golly?
I'm ready. I'm not sure what to expect.
Well, that's the point. Okay, fantastic. All right, there we go. Quote number 1. Sure, I left it in here somewhere. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. So here we go. First quote. You ready? At some point, you said, "Originally, I downloaded VRChat and started playing in order to only play Among Us. Now, this is a damning thing if it's true, you know. I mean, you know the reputation Among Us has around here. Could
okay,
you really explain
so-
why and your motives behind that?
So I had a Quest 2. I wanted to do VR stuff. And when I downloaded VR Chat because I heard that you could play games on it.
Oh, yeah.
So when I went in, the first thing I saw was the Among Us, and I was like, I could play Among Us in VR. That sounds so awesome. So literally for the first month of having a VR headset, whenever I put on VR headset, it was Among Us. That's all I sat there and played. So all my friends at the time in VR were just from people I met playing Among Us,
Wow.
which was a great time. But then one time, but here's the thing about that.
Yes.
I joined off of a friend who I met playing Among Us. He was at a Just Be club and he was sleeping in one of the rooms.
Oh, okay.
That's when I learned that people sleep in VR. I was still very how do I say a very new, very vanilla when it came to this. In doing so, the following like while I was hanging out with him, that's when I discovered the nightlife of some things that go on in VR chat. And that's when I was like, alrighty then. This is all new to me. I'm very uncomfortable.
Fair enough.
And then now it's just second nature and I'm just used to it.
But
The following day,
yes,
I said, hey man, I joined off you yesterday and you were in a Just Be club. He's like, oh yeah, I was sleeping. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was in the Spirits of the Sea. And when I was there, I started seeing all these people in military uniforms walking by.
Ah, okay.
And so because of me playing Among Us and meeting that person, I was in a world from the previous group. So here I am because of it. So I guess in the end, it works.
As you can see, folks, good things can come from public lobbies.
They can. Yes.
It's not all doom and gloom.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, fascinating. Thank you very much for that. Okay.
You're welcome.
If I can put that down, get a bit of rummage around, see what we can find. Okay, quote number 2. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay, you're gonna have fun with this one. Okay. At some point, you said, "I am a pretty princess." Can you please? Do you have any idea where that came from?
Here's the thing. I have no clue. It could have been one of those. I'm trying to think. I remember saying it, but I don't remember the context. That's why I love the quotes so much.
Is everything.
So with the Pretty Princess, I feel like somebody had to have put a tiara on me. It's probably one of those worlds where you just put something on somebody's head.
Maybe. Yeah.
And they probably just grabbed a tiara, put it on my head, and I'm like, I'm a pretty princess. And it was, and the fact that that's all they took out of that was funny. But yeah, I couldn't give you the context on that one because I really don't know which context I was in.
Enough.
I could have just been frolicking through a field somewhere being a deer and just been like, I'm a pretty princess. Again, could have been another 36 hours of no sleep. Who knows?
Who knows? I will leave it up to you guys' imagination.
Exactly.
You know, at some point, maybe tonight when you're in bed, that will suddenly come to you and you'll be like, aha.
Yeah, I'll jolt up.
Case, feel free to send it in my DMs. I'll look
yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay, all right. Let's see if we got another one rummaging around here somewhere. Well, actually, hang on. Oh, heavens, is that the time? Okay, well, I'm terribly sorry, folks. I think that's all the time we're going to have for today. So, I think it's about time we say our goodbyes. So thank you very much for tuning into the first ever episode of the BAF Castle. I've had a great time, and I hope you have, and I certainly hope you have as well, Golly. You've been fantastic company. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. It's been a great. Can't wait to see how the talk show goes. This is very fun. I'm hoping everyone else has fun with this experience and likes the vibes that we have. Again, like I said, we have so much planned for this, so obviously look out for more episodes.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Absolutely.
Well, I think, shall we?
Absolutely.
Okay, in that case, well, thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.
Bye.